present the news at 20 hours on TV2. I'm Patricia Ellis Pumulo. Top stories in the news. President Edgar Lungu has graced the 2017 Kuomboka traditional ceremony of the Lozi people. Business came to a standstill in the Soccer's Garden compound when the screams of a woman being carried in a police van caught the attention of traders near Garden Police Station this morning. Plus, soccer analyst Ruben Kamanga has called for caution in the management of under-20 players before they turn professional. And now the news in detail. President Edgar Lungu has graced the 2017 Kuomboka traditional ceremony of the Lozi people. Thousands of people attended the colorful ceremony. The Litunga's 6-hour journey started from Lialui on the royal barge Nalikwanda to Limulunga, where scores of people welcomed him. Then Nalikwanda docked at the Nayuma Harbour at 17:30 hours amidst loud applause from thousands of spectators. The Litunga soon after disembarking met President Lungu and exchanged greetings before walking to the palace arena. The Litunga, together with the Commander-in-Chief of Armed Forces, President Lungu, then walked from Nayuma Harbour to Limulunga Palace. The Litunga, Luosi Imwiko II, together with President Lungu, sat on the traditional seats at Limulunga Palace to mark the climax of the Kuomboka traditional ceremony. Meanwhile, the Ngambela, Prime Minister of the Barotse Royal Establishment, Nyambe Mwenda, urged the Lozi people to preserve their culture. Ngambela Mwenda made the appeal in his vote of thanks on behalf of the Litunga. He thanked President Lungu and the First Lady Esther for attending the ceremony. Ngambela Mwenda said the BRE is grateful for the support President Lungu has rendered towards the hosting of this year's Kuomboka ceremony. Over 30 traditional leaders and 6 members of parliament in Luapula province have made submissions that are aimed at reducing child marriages in the province. This was during a child marriage and teenage pregnancy consultative meeting organized by the United Nations Population Fund, UNFPA, in Mansa district. Here is a report.
Minister Nixon Chilangwa. The province is ranked second in the country when it comes to early marriages and teenage pregnancies. The situation seems to be getting out of hand. This is why over 30 traditional leaders and 6 members of parliament in the province have gathered to find lasting solutions to the problems affecting them. This consultative meeting is the first of its kind and has been organized by the United Nations Population Fund, UNFPA.
If present trends continue, 453,000 Zambian girls born between 2005 and 2010 will be married or in union before age 18 by the year 2030.
The provincial minister says the leaders here have a huge responsibility to stop teenage pregnancies and early marriages in order to make the country develop.
Echo twala chisaposhani pantu bubwafya ife tulebulandilapo mulandi wakwe bati umwana nga tasambirire umwana nga tere kuntanshi mukwaye bulya bupina bwaba mulupwa bukala shingurwa palapene fye kanshi bufwire twafanga ko musango wakwe bati bana mayo bayimishiwa nomba na mayo tayimishiwe nga chakwe bati ili ali 14 years old twalanda titulilepo.
Various traditional leaders also submitted solutions that they feel can help reduce or better yet completely eradicate the vices. After all was said and done, officers representing various key institutions such as health and education informed the gathering on the need to adhere to the laid down rules and laws. Once the submissions made here are actualized, the hope of the people in Luapula province is that early marriages and teenage pregnancies will be history. And Mambiliva Member of Parliament, Dennis Wanchinga, was also present at this function.
Government policy, yakumuna kweba itakufire kwaba umwana ndelio umo ufire aenda ukukira 5 kilometers ukuya kusubulu. ye police yonsefie intrekonka elio na mumusango oyu government ya itampa ukitabu grade especially abantu watu wa secondary school 220 primary schools country-wide elio kitabu grade nga means of general education kuyapanga ama secondary schools muno muri wakula twakwata 22.
Now, issues of teenage pregnancies and early marriages are not peculiar to Luapula province alone. This is why the traditional leadership here and the members of parliament in the province have gathered to make submissions to find solutions to this problem. They are hoping that submissions made here will be adopted by other provinces throughout the country. Lufola Nkowani, TV2 News, Mansa, Luapula province.
General Education Minister Dennis Wanchinga has asked Assesco Limited, the contractor working on Musa Secondary School in Northern Province, to expedite works. Dr. Wanchinga, who is on a tour of schools in Northern Province, is concerned that the works have taken longer than scheduled. Here's Lufola Nkowani again with a report.
General Education Minister Dennis Wanchinga has continued with his tour of duty. The minister and his entourage today inspected construction works at Musa Day High School. The school has been under construction since 2011. According to the initial plan, works were expected to be completed within 2 years. But 7 years later, the contractor, Assesco Limited, is still on site. The minister has asked the contractor to focus on building classrooms and toilets first to enable pupils begin to learn from the new structure.
Yes. 2 1x3, 5 teachers' houses, population block. 2 of them. 2 of them?
Yes. And admin.
And admin.
Yes. Then can remain with the lab and the assembly hall by September.
Dr. Wanchinga and officers from the Provincial Education Office want Musa Day School to be operational by September.
So what we want is to hasten the process of the community benefiting from this infrastructure, and also to make sure that we don't create an impression as if nothing is being done to complete this infrastructure. So we have made a strategic decision that we are going to identify key structures like 1x3 classroom blocks, a few teachers' houses, a science lab, and put in some toilet facilities so that the pupils by the beginning of September are able to start using these facilities.
The school is being constructed at a total cost of 13 million kwacha. Once completed, pupils from within the area will no longer have to walk long distances in search of education. Lufola Nkowani, TV2 News, Kasama.
A recent audit report has revealed some financial irregularities worth about 2 million kwacha at Chipata College of Education in the Eastern Province. This came to light when General Education Permanent Secretary Henry Tukombe held a meeting with management at the college. Out of this amount, about 1.2 million kwacha was paid as fake allowances to lecturers, while about 800,000 kwacha was paid to suppliers for goods, which were never supplied to the college. And Ministry of General Education Director for Recruitment and Replacement, Lennox Kalonde, said the money will be recovered through salary deductions from the affected lecturers. The Ministry of Health says there has been overwhelming response by members of the public to the ongoing countrywide male circumcision exercise. The exercise, which started on April 1st, is targeting 108,000 males. Ministry of Health spokesperson Kennedy Malama has since urged men to take advantage of the male circumcision exercise. More in this report.
The male circumcision exercise is underway across the country, and health officials have so far described the response from the members of the public since the start of the exercise on April 1st as overwhelming. Ministry of Health spokesperson Kenneth Malama says all materials are in place for the exercise, which is targeting 108,002 males countrywide.
So we've given ourselves a target of 108,002 countrywide, and this target has been shared amongst all the 10 provinces. It's a competition, and we've told all the provinces really to ensure that we balance between generating demand for male circumcision and also the supply in terms of making sure facilities are ready to provide services, including outreach, and all the consumables are available.
I took time to visit one of the health centers in Lusaka, Matero First Level Hospital, and found that the public response is positive. Theatre nurse Wupe Monda says the turnout is expected to increase following the going into recess of public schools.
It's 50-50. We have a lot of men, we have a lot of children, especially during school holidays. We have a lot of children coming here from the age of 10 to the age of 17.
And members of the public have welcomed the male circumcision exercise.
I basically came here because of some concerns that I've seen with regard to the spread of infection and cancer in women. So I thought of preventing it on personal level by coming here. The message is that at least every male should take up this step because it's very important. Not only, it also is part of hygiene as a man.
My encouragement to them is that they need to come. It's very important for them because you can't contract diseases such as STIs and STDs and syphilis, gonorrhea and the like.
Come for male circumcision because it's healthy and it's protective and it's hygiene. Yeah.
It is expected that the male circumcision exercise will contribute to efforts of reducing the disease burden of the country. Martha Banda, TV2 News in Lusaka.
The Drug Enforcement Commission DEC has arrested a 42-year-old woman of Lusaka for money laundering activities involving over 90,000 kwacha. Cecilia Muntemba, an accountant of Road Transport and Safety Agency RATSA, is alleged to have stolen 91,000 kwacha together with other persons unknown. DEC spokesperson Teresa Katongo says the suspect is currently on police bond. Meanwhile, the Commission has arrested 40 people in various parts of the country for unlawful cultivation and trafficking in narcotic and psychotropic substances weighing 2.4 tons. Just now we go for a break, and still ahead in the news, water shortage hits some townships in Lusaka, plus more stories. We'll be right back. We continue with the news. Business came to a standstill in Lusaka's garden compound when the screams of a woman being carried in a police van caught the attention of traders near Garden Police Station this morning. The woman, who was visibly hurt, claims her husband had seriously injured her after he battered her repeatedly. The police have since thrown her husband into the cells as they investigate the police case of GBV. Penlap Sikazwe has more in this report.
She sat isolated in a police van a few minutes after it pulled up at the station. At first, it was not quite clear if the weeping woman was a villain or victim. But close inspection revealed that she was hurt and in serious need of a medical checkup. The more she cried, the bigger the crowd around her got. And she managed to speak through tears as she described a violent marriage relationship between herself and her husband. Her husband is currently in police custody, being questioned over the incident. Police drove off the victim immediately after securing her husband a spot in the cells. Residents of Garden Compound say spousal abuse must end.
Because kumenya mukazi no reason ni mulando elo futi ija yokwati kapena munya in public futi chipata bulemu at least muli munyumba mubirizana mweka.
The isolated incident makes up high statistics that continue to show that the challenge of gender-based violence remains to be overcome in Zambia. Penlop Sikazwe, TV2 News, Lusaka.
A water shortage has hit some townships in Lusaka. A check by TV2 in affected areas found residents fetching the commodity from available communal centers. But the Lusaka Water and Sewage Company has attributed the shortage of the commodity to the shutdown of the Kafue treatment plant. More in this report.
Most areas of Lusaka have continued to experience sporadic water supply. The water crisis is forcing people in affected areas to grapple with the challenge of fetching the commodity. A check by TV2 News in some affected parts of the city found people fetching the commodity. In Kalingalinga Township, residents are fetching the commodity at this construction site. They say water supply has been inconsistent in the area for some time now.
In 1972 but kudala mnatupe manzi tezo papa mkondi but ya boma inai kakonzero namba tapa mapomba manja amene mameni pompa amene yawa lativuta matizwa manzi uchita 2 days kulibe 3 days aliko 2 days kulibe 3 days aliko.
And in Garden Chiruru area the situation is no different.
No Chiruru Garden manzi sabenzi yativuta kono so tidanda ula tuka 04
Meanwhile, residents of Avondale say the area has had no water supply for 4 days now. Lusaka Water and Sewage Company Public Relations Officer Nshamba Muzungu has told TV2 News in a telephone interview that the water shortage is due to some maintenance works at the Kafue treatment plant.
Like Avondale, you will also understand that those areas are on the lower end in terms of the distribution chain. So they will feel the effect more because they are on the lower end. The same applies to areas like Chiruru on that end and Emersdale. They will have, such effect. But the situation should be able to normalize.
Mr. Muzungu says water supply will soon be restored in most affected areas in Lusaka. Lucky Piri, TV2 News in Lusaka.
Home Affairs Deputy Permanent Secretary Angela Mlenga has urged former prisoners not to lose hope when they are released from custody. Speaking at the launch of a book authored by a former prisoner, Ms. Mlenga says former prisoners should consider focusing on several life survival skills that are taught in correctional facilities. More in this report.
Have gathered here at Lusaka Correctional Facility to support the achievement of a former prisoner. 34-year-old Israel Kulinga was convicted in South Africa for immigration-related offense for 6 months. But his dreams were not shattered. While in prison in a foreign land, he took time to write a book called Nema. The book, which is in 13 languages, has been launched at Lusaka Correctional Facility. Mr. Kulinga says he decided to launch the book at Lusaka Correctional Facility in order to inspire inmates at the facility.
I'm speaking with experience, and there's a testimony which is here. The little things that you actually have and look down on, that is the actual blessing God has actually given you. But another thing is we have to open up our eyes and humble ourselves to listen to the voice of God.
In Home Affairs Deputy Permanent Secretary Angela Mlenga graced the occasion and urged inmates to focus on improving various skills learned at the facility. Ms. Mlenga called on stakeholders to come on board and help Mr. Kulinga.
Mr. Kulinga's book is a clear testimony of time well spent in incarceration and also proof of skills acquired from correctional facilities. Our dear inmates, may I now implore you to emulate Mr. Kulinga's initiative and do more.
It is hoped that this book will go a long way in improving literacy levels in the country. Martha Banda, TV2 News in Lusaka.
In international news, Swedish police have confirmed they discovered a suspect device inside the lorry which was driven into a Stockholm department store on Friday. The device was found in the driver's seat, National Police Commissioner Dan Eliasson said, but it was not known whether it was a bomb. Mr. Eliasson also said the suspect in custody was from Uzbekistan, 39, and known to security services. 4 people were killed, 10 remain in hospital, including a child. In sports news, Zambia's Sydney Siame has set a new national record and qualified for the IAAF World Championship to be held in London this year after he clocked 9.88 seconds. Siame beat the all-time record held by US-based Zambian runner Gerald Piri, which is 10.04 seconds in the 100 meters category. He also beat his personal record to qualify against the qualifying time of 10.12 seconds. This was during the all-newcomers athletic event held at National Heroes Stadium in Lusaka today. Siame joins Mupopo Kawange, who has qualified in the 200 and 400 meters category. Still in sports, soccer analyst Ruben Kamanga has called for caution in the management of under-20 players before they turn professional. Kamanga says the players should be managed properly and that proper channels should be followed when inviting players to Europe for trials. Kamanga has described the disappearance of under-20 midfielder Enoch Mwepu, who is reported to be in Austria for trials without permission from his club, as unfortunate. Kamanga was speaking when he featured on a TV2 program, 7 Days Today.
I think if we mismanage the transitioning of these players from the local league into European league, wherever they are going, I think we'll lose out. We will not even have a very good, outing in South Korea. These are the players we expect to play a big part in South Korea, and already they're in the news for the wrong reasons. I think we should do better, and the names that are being mentioned around in the newspapers are people that should know better the process. If a player is playing for Napsa Stars and under whatever conditions, whether or not, you must engage the club in a very civil manner. I don't think that Football Association has got the responsibility to manage these players. First of all, their parents will take a center stage. They must not be swayed by the huge amounts of money that are going to be dangled around. It's not necessary. These are products. They will be worth billions at some point in the next couple of months after the World Cup. So you can be patient. Bite the bullet for now. The parents must take a very, very important role in this. The managers, if the players do have managers, they must manage the players well. The clubs where these players are coming from.
To end the news, a recap on the top stories. President Edgar Lungu has graced the 2017 Kuomboka traditional ceremony of the Lozi people. Thousands of people attended the colorful ceremony. Business came to a standstill in Lusaka's garden compound when the screams of a woman being carried in a police van caught the attention of traders near Garden Police Station this morning. The woman, who was visibly hurt, claims her husband had seriously injured her after he battered her repeatedly. Finally, in the news, soccer analyst Ruben Kamanga has called for caution in the management of under-20 soccer players before they turn professional. Kamanga says the players should be managed properly and that proper channels should be followed when inviting players to Europe for trials. That ends the news. Thank you so much for watching. Good night and God bless.